What is going on, guys? It's Sean O'Connell, the managing director here at CinemaBlend, and we are working our way through Game of Thrones, and I'm going to have a reaction video posted very shortly to episode 1 of season 8. We decided that we're going to put those up on Sunday, so everybody can basically use the last reaction video to get them primed up for the upcoming episode that's about to drop. But because so many people have commented that they really wanted me to watch a video that's out that's called R plus L equals J, and it describes Jon Snow's lineage. And we know that basically Jon is the child of Ned Stark's sister, and Rhaegar Targaryen, which means he has blood from 2 of the major families in Game of Thrones. But apparently there's a video that exists out there that goes into really great detail about all the different references and scenes that pointed out this formula. Apparently this formula was a really big deal for fans. What's interesting about the binge is that when you are watching Game of Thrones all together, packed, it's hard to tell what the important storylines are or were to fans as they were watching them in real time. So I never once necessarily thought that Jon Snow's heritage was going to be so significant. Like, yes, he's referred to frequently as Ned Stark's bastard, but there's multiple characters, including fan favorite Ramsay Bolton, who's a bastard and whose lineage isn't quite as important as Jon's is turning out to be. So people have asked that I watch and comment on this video, and as a sweet little midweek gift to everybody who's been watching the Game of Thrones reactions as we wait for the next episode of season 8 to come around, I'm going to queue it up and watch it and react to what I learn from this video. So without further ado, this isn't an official episode reaction, but this is me watching R plus L equals J, who is Jon's mother, and I'll comment about whether I believe the references are accurate or whether I picked up on some stuff as it was going. So let's see what they have to say.
My grandfather, Lord Rickard. He was burned alive by the Mad King Aerys. That's Lyanna, my father's sister. King Robert was supposed to marry her, but Rhaegar Targaryen kidnapped her.
The last time I was in the capital was many years ago. Another wedding. My sister Elia and Rhaegar Targaryen, the last dragon. My sister loved him, and beautiful, noble Rhaegar Targaryen left her for another woman. That started a war, and the war ended right here.
Your Aunt Lyanna, Lord Went of the great tourney at Harrenhal. The last 2 riders were Barristan Selmy and Rhaegar Targaryen. When Rhaegar won, he rode right past his wife, and he lay a crown of winter roses in Lyanna's lap. And all the smiles died. I've never seen so many people so quiet.
Robert started a war to win her back. He killed Rhaegar, but she died anyway.
Did you have to bury her in a place like this? She should be on a hill somewhere with the sun and the clouds above her.
She was my sister. This is where she belongs.
She belonged with me.
So multiple people loved her, and they fought over her.
In my dreams, I kill him every night.
It's done, Your Grace. Targaryens are gone.
Do you know what happened to the Targaryen children when the Mad King fell?
They were butchered in the sleep.
Who gave you the order? Say her name! You raped her! You murdered her! You killed her children!
When I heard they had killed my brother's son, and his poor son, and the children.
Aemon Targaryen.
Aerys Targaryen has wed some Dothraki horse lord. What of it?
I'll kill every Targaryen I get my hands on.
You can't get your hands on this one, can you?
For 20 years, the spider
see, now
oversaw
Ned
the campaign
knows.
to find and kill me.
I want
Ned
them
knows
dead.
in that
Mother and
conversation.
child both.
You'll dishonor yourself forever if you do this.
Honor? I've got 7 kingdoms to rule!
Then we're no better than the Mad King.
Careful, Ned. Careful now.
You want to assassinate a girl? I will have no part in it.
You will do as I command, or I'll find me a hand who will.
Go as far away as you can.
Oh, see?
As many men as you can.
This explains more why Ned did that. Oh, okay. All right.
Its wrath will follow you.
How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
Yes, he chose her. And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
When your brother Rhaegar led his army into battle at the Trident, men died for him because they believed in him, because they loved him.
Rhaegar fought valiantly,
Rhaegar fought nobly, and Rhaegar died.
Did you know him well, Sir Barristan?
I did, Your Grace. Finest man I ever met.
See,
Like
not
to
a
walk among the
kidnapper
people.
or a
Like to
rapist.
sing to them.
He sang to them.
Viserys never told you.
He told me Rhaegar was good at killing people.
Rhaegar never liked killing. He loved singing.
17 years ago, you rode off with Robert Baratheon. You came back a year later with another woman's son.
Find you at the feast?
Lady Stark thought it might insult the royal family to see the bastard in their midst.
I want you to leave.
I never met my mother. My father wouldn't even tell me her name. I don't know if she's living or dead.
Your bastard's mother. You never told me what she looked like.
No, will I?
You hated that boy, didn't you? How could you not hate him? The walking, talking reminder that the Honorable Lord Eddard Stark fucked another woman.
You think highly of this boy.
Good.
Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
And bastard by some tavern slut.
Perhaps, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way. Must have been a rare wench to make Lord Eddard Stark forget his honor.
What is honor compared to a woman's love?
Wow.
What is duty against the feel of a newborn son in your arms?
Robert really didn't know.
Stark.
Jamie didn't know.
You might not have my name. You have my blood.
Yes.
Is my
Oh,
mother alive?
that's a confession.
Does she know about me, where I am, where I'm going?
The next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother. I promise.
And they never meet again.
House Targaryen is gone. Not a single person who shares your blood is alive to support you.
A Targaryen alone in the world. It's a terrible thing.
Terrific editing.
Mr. Raymond.
Well, that's not a
Sansa
coincidence.
came to court this morning to plead for your life.
You think my life is some precious thing to me? That I would trade my honor for a few more years of woe?
What of your daughter's life, my lord?
Well, we all do our duty when there's no cost to it. Honor comes easy then. Yet, sooner or later, in every man's life, there comes a day when it is not easy. A day when he must choose.
I am Eddard Stark. I come before you to confess my treason.
If the day should ever come when your Lord Father was forced to choose between honor on the one hand and those he loves on the other,
Wow.
what would he do?
Wow.
Do
Wow.
whatever was right, no matter what.
Most of us are not so strong.
Oh, Baelor is such an incredible episode. It has so much weight to it, knowing all that we know now.
When my husband brought that baby home from the war, I couldn't bear to look at him. So I prayed to the gods. Take him away. Make him die. He got the pox. And I knew I was the worst woman who ever lived. So I prayed to all 7 gods. Let the boy live. Let him live. And I'll love him. I'll be a mother to him. And he lived.
I wish Ned told Kat. I wish she confided in
And I
her.
couldn't keep my promise. And everything that's happened since then. All this horror that's come to my family. It's all because I couldn't love a motherless child.
Wow. And how different your decisions would have been if you knew his
Some of you
mother.
have probably heard the story before, but we had a very long lunch with George where we told him what we wanted to do with the adaptation. And we had a 3-hour talk. At the very end of it, George said, okay, who is Jon Snow's real mother? And there was a very long pause, and I looked at Dan, and Dan looked at me, and we threw out a guess. And he kind of nodded, and then he let us take the show.
All right. that's fascinating. In a sense that, yes, there's a ton of foreshadowing in this show. And it is truly a gift of how the show is put together so that there are references to the bigger picture answer scattered all the way throughout. And that just shows remarkable storytelling and plotting and patience. Patience more than anything else. I'm going to make a parallel that might not make sense right off the bat, but I think it does. We just came from Star Wars Celebration, and a lot of conversation is being held amongst Star Wars fans about Episode 9, which we now know is called The Rise of Skywalker, and how it's going to potentially change things that Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi that fans didn't agree with. And there's some big picture questions, much in a Jon Snow type way. Where does Rey come from, and how much does it matter? The importance of Snoke, where Kylo Ren's story is going. Is it going to be a redemptive arc, or is he legitimately a villain that we're supposed to root for his demise? These are all questions that you would assume Lucasfilm and the storytellers knew going into this trilogy, and then they just had to have the patience to spread out where the answers were going to be. But from everything that we're told, Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams never spoke, and that now JJ is essentially, potentially, we don't know, we can't confirm, retconning some of the decisions that Rian made in Last Jedi and may try to fix them with Episode 9. That shows a lack of insight into the overall storytelling process, and Thrones seems to be the complete opposite of that. It has its own share of big picture questions that it wants to address, and one of them being who is Jon Snow's mother and father, and why is it important? And this video just shows to me that the showrunners really did have a firm grasp on where they wanted to go with the reveal, how they wanted to spell it out, and then they weaved these little conversations all the way through, and it changes your perspective completely on Ned once you find out what it is, because you thought that there was a time. Personally, I'll tell you, I thought there was a time when, when they said that Ned cheated and fathered a bastard outside of his marriage to Kat. I didn't blink when I heard that, because it just felt like in Thrones, even someone as noble as Ned sleeping with someone outside of marriage wouldn't be that earth-shattering, because it happens often in Thrones. But it turns out that now, as far as we know, he didn't, and he instead was just agreeing to protect the love child of Rhaegar and Lyanna, his sister, and he committed to protecting the baby. Now, it doesn't answer, and this video doesn't answer to me, why Ned didn't just trust in Lady Cat. Why he didn't confide in her and say, look, this is what happened, so that she could be in on it, because as she says, so many of these things that happened to our family have been born of the fact that I could not bring Jon Snow into our life. He gets sent away. He goes up to the wall. She sides with Robb, essentially. Goes on the entire expedition that lasts the entire season. So that's a great video. In a way, I'm really glad I didn't watch it until this point. It's really well put together. It's extremely well edited. It pulls pretty much every important reference that you kind of need to hint at who Jon's family is. And it shows how the show knew beforehand and really did drive everything forward from that point. So now we know, and the big repercussions are to come, because it essentially puts him at odds with Dany, who believes that she is the rightful heir to the throne when theoretically Jon should be ahead of her. Also, they're sleeping together. And as much as I am hashtag team incest, I do think that those two need to cut it out now that they are aunt and nephew. But the Targaryens, that's the Targaryen way. And now I just can't wait to sit back with y'all and figure out what the repercussions of the reveal are going to be as Game of Thrones Season 8 rolls on. So let's continue to react together to Season 8. Go down, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and as I start to learn more about what happens in Game of Thrones with you guys, we'll be able to analyze it together as Season 8 comes to its monumental conclusion in a few weeks.